So now what we need to do is that we need to execute this code, and before we execute the code, we need to call a function that's gonna make the request, because now we have this function, we have the kernel or curl in it, which is gonna initiate the request, and then we have our options, and then the last step is to execute or make or execute the HTTP request. Make the request. So to make the request, we need to call a function called curl underscore execute, exec. And this function takes the ch, it takes the kernel in it. So I'm gonna pass here ch, and then this function, when we execute this code, this function will be called obviously at the end of the script, and it will make the request to the server. It will make the request to the Cinch servers, and will send the message. If everything is successful, if everything is fine and there are no problems, then it will send the message to the recipient or to the receiver from the sender. So the sender will send the message to the receiver through the Cinch service, and all of this will be done using PHP, specifically using the curl execute here function. So the question now is, how do we know whether the request was successful or not? Well, this is a great question. In order to know whether the message has been sent, and in order to know whether the request has been successful or not, we need to use we need to get we need to store this function in a variable. So I'm going to store this function in a variable called result, because this curl execute is going to return this, is going to return whether everything, or whether the HTTP was successful or not. So if it's successful, if the request was sent successfully, then we need to do something. And if there was some kind of if there was an error for some reason, we need to do another thing. This is a very important thing that you need to do, because you will never know whether the request went successfully or not, because if you execute this code like this, it's just gonna execute the code and you will never know unless you check the result. So we need to check the result. This is very important. And in order to check the result here, we need to check the result. And in order to check the result, we need to use if statement. So we need to say here if, and then curl underscore error no. So this function is going to return the last error number, and I'm gonna pass the ch to it. And then if we have an error here, there is an error, else SMS was sent successfully. So in case of error, we need to display the error. So here we need to display the error, and to display the error, we can choose from two options. The first option is to display failure, for example, failure, or anything you want. You can say just failure, and here you can here say echo, and then success.